YouTube, it's Alec here with the Underground, coming at you with your favorite segment, the Destroyer of Dreams. Yes, that's right, I've once again taken up the noble cause of beating people with Archfiends, a deck that they think is irrelevant, and destroying their dreams in the process. Now, before we get started, I have some dreams to destroy right off the bat. Now, there was a lot of people in our last video begging for us to update the deck profile when Archfiend Commander came out. And Archfiend Commander came out, and we playtested him. We tried to find his place in the deck, and we found out that he does not have a place in the deck. His destruction effect just isn't terribly useful to Archfiends as I play them, and his Tribute Summon effect, while it is pretty good, it involves you Tribute Summoning him. There is nothing in this deck that has any synergy with Tribute Summoning in the slightest. So in the end, Archfiend Commander did not make the cut. Apologize for you guys who wanted him to. If the time comes where Archfiends get more level 6 support that works with Commander, then we'll definitely do a deck profile on that. If I find out a way that Commander could be useful, I will try to make a profile there as well. But as it stands, I just don't see any place for him. So feel free to disagree in the comments. But that being said, let's get into the deck that we do have, because we have a lot of cool new tools in order to play Archfiends right now. So once again, 3 Erish searches the whole deck. Want to access that search as much as possible. 3 Lord of Horrors. His normal summon ability, as well as his ability to banish and pop when he's normal summoned, is very useful because there's just not a lot of traps that beat him right now, with people playing like Blackhorn and Trapshore Nightmare. Those are cards that are really easy to play around this deck, which is very nice for us. For our 2 grindy card, 1 Archfiend Cavalry, 1 Trance Archfiend, neither of these contribute to the deck's win condition terribly, but there's just those games where you grind, and when you get in those grind games, these cards do become useful, so we're going to play 1 of each. Don't necessarily want to see them, but just to have them accessible by Eris, and drawing them really isn't that bad either, as long as you're only playing 1 of each, because they won't clog that way. Now, to get to our Archfiend Eris, we have 3 Tour Guide of the Underworld, and our newest member, 3 Mathematician. We used to be playing Armageddon Knight here, but the problem with Armageddon Knight was he was kind of like Constellar Sheraton, for any of you who've ever played that deck. You summoned him, you dumped Eris, you got your search, and that was the end of that. He really ceased being useful and just got ran over. Mathematician is a straight +1, because you dump your Eris, get your search, and then if they want to run over him, you draw. And besides, nothing destroys dreams quite like math. Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about that line. And 2 Battle Theater, Harbinger to the end, sets off all of your plays. Just a great card because his Fiend ability. 2 Palabyrinth, the 1 card in the deck that people know about because it's played in Infernities. Just an OTK enabler, and sets up your play, and you know, banishes stuff, special stuff. The head card of the Destroyer of Dreams itself, 3 Falling Down, your Snatch Steel. People don't know what this card does. If you ever play it and your opponent doesn't know what it does, I suggest that you tell them to read it, hand it to them, and then watch the look in their eyes. It's priceless. And for more consistency, we're playing 2 Duality and 1 Foolish, just to make things work. Now, another new addition to this deck, we have 3 Supply Squad. Phenomenal card in this deck. It hasn't been seeing much play since its release, but it has a very special place in this deck because Archfiend, Lord of Horror, when the turn it's normal summoned, will destroy itself, and Supply Squad replaces it with a fresh card. In addition, Archfiend's Roar destroys the Archfiend during the end phase, which means that it becomes a +1 when backed by Supply Squad. This card's usefulness doesn't stop there, however. Worst comes to worst, it will replace itself at a 1-for-1, and worst case scenario, they MST it, which is a 1-for-1, which is great though, because you want them to MST this as opposed to something like a Call of the Haunted. So, very phenomenal card in this deck because you can set it off during your opponent's turn. And rounding out the spells, 1 Dark Hole. For cards that make you feel like you're cheating, 1 Eradicator, and 3 Skill Drain. Still phenomenal in the deck. All of Eradicator's consistency problems have been resolved now because we have Downward Magician. For the revival cards, we have 3 Archfiend's Roar. I really wish I could play like 5 of these, but it's only at 3. unfortunately. Sets off Supply Squad, gets your searches rolling, puts more fuel in the grave for Lord of Horrors effect. Really just does everything you want it to do, and then when you have Cavalry in grave, it just gets ridiculous because it becomes like Monster of Warren almost. No strings attached. 3 Call the Haunted, because, yeah, it just gets you whatever you need, and gets you searches, gets you Lord of Horrors, just great card all around. 1 Escape from the Dark Dimension, because if you were playing, if one of our one-ofs, like Trance Archfiend or Archfiend Cavalry, does get banished in a grindy matchup, we want the ability to recover that so we can continue floating. And also helps just like Call the Haunted or Archfiend's Roar and extending your plays. So, pretty good card. A little bit more situational than the other 2, but I mean, we don't have 5 Archfiend's Roar and we don't have 4 calls. So, Escape from the Dark Dimension is, and rounding up the traps and finishing off the deck, 1 Torrential Tribute. So, that's the deck. On to the Exceeds. Not all of these are necessary, but of the ones that are necessary, the rank 3s are definitely necessary. Wind-Up Zen Mains, Fortune Tune, and Acid Golem, all 3 trigger Eris's effects by detaching for an effect instead of the cost for an effect. In addition, Acid Golem plays specifically nice roles with Skill Drain, because we are playing that in the deck. 1 Leviator to recur our banished stuff that we banished from the field spell should we need it. 1 Ghost Trick Alucard to help us grind through back row, and 1 Tempo. Not the greatest card, but it is a fiend, so I keep it in. And finally, Downward Magician, useful because you can put her on top of any of these level 3s when you're done with them for an attack boost, and more often than not, it's very useful now because we are main decking that Eradicator, and as long as she has 2 materials under her, you contribute her for Eradicator and steal a game. On the rank 4s, 1 Crazy Box, because we are playing a Skill Drain deck. It is a Fiend, so just useful all around. 1 Laval Chain to get our heirs to the graveyard, and the rest of these I don't really go into that much, but I'd play next ton 101 if you have them, but I don't, so I'm playing a Black Chip of Corn. Rhapsody, that's a Fiend, that's cool. Maestroke should probably be a 101, but hey, it's a Fiend, so it's cool. Diamond Direwolf to get you through problem cards. Ragna Zero should be an X-Ton, but I'm poor. And 1 Gaia Dragon Thundercharger, because you do play that Snatch Steal, and in some situations it might be useful to throw a Gaia Charger on whatever you take. Now, finally, for the side deck, while you should side deck according to your local meta, I'm just going to give you what I've sided, and in case it helps you out. I've been siding 1 Transmigration, 2 DD Crow. I feel this suite of 3 cards is very good in any deck right now, so I'm definitely still using it in this. 2 Max C, just to dig those battle faders and clean your deck's consistency by keeping you moving through the deck. For Spell Trap removal, we're playing 3 MST, 2 Wild Tornado. This deck can get floodgated by macro, DeFi, any of that stuff, so I prefer to play more of my outs to it than they play it, and theoretically I should get it. Wild Tornado is particularly useful because if they try to like pop your back row or stuff, you can revenge kill something, which is very nice. I've actually triggered that effect more than actually destroying a face-up spell or trap with it, which is funny. 2 Forbidden Chalice, you're always going to have the highest attack, and this plays around like Trap Stun or Decree or things people will try to do to kill you like that. 2 Shared Ride, Prophecy matchup used to be a breeze because you could search Pal Labyrinth more readily than they could search Tower, but as it turns out, the rules have changed, and Field Spell Wars aren't real anymore, so now the Prophecy matchup's like hard. Disappointing. And to round out the side deck, I've been siding the 3rd Cavalry just against anything that plays like hands or anything like that, like grindy, because Archfiend's Cavalry is a great card to grind with, and if one gets bottomless, you don't necessarily want to have to dig out the bottomless one with a Trance Archfiend or something like that. So adding the Archfiend Cavalry is good, and then like the best way to play around the hands is honestly just to take them with Falling Down, then Exceed, so that helps you accomplish that. So that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a big thumbs up, rate, comment, subscribe. If you want to understand like my views on the win condition, you can go ahead and check out the tutorial. Like I already said, there's some redundant stuff in there, some stuff that no longer applies. Like I talk about Mass Chameleon, and we definitely drop that now because of the we have cards like Supply Squad, which cleans out the spaces that those cards used to take and gets us to our win condition faster, but it still has some relevant stuff in it if you want to watch it. And feel free to watch any of our other Destroyer Dreams videos to see how this deck has progressed over the years that I've played it, or I guess a year now. But yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, and